Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's get to today's video. In today's video, I want to present a very simple, very easy way that also works very fast, that is going to help you align with your desire, align with the state of your wish fulfilled within literally seconds or minutes. As we all know, aligning with your state of the wish fulfilled, aligning with your desire is supposed to be a very simple and very natural thing. In practice, it isn't always this way, and that's usually because of resistance we build around our desire. And so what is supposed to be a very simple and very natural process tends to become a lot more complicated, and sometimes it's infused with stress and anxiety, and we end up feeling like we're torturing ourselves, which is not supposed to be this way. So I'm hoping that what I'm going to tell you today is actually going to make it much easier and much simpler for you to align with your desire, align with your end state, your state of the wish fulfilled, each and every time you need to. Each and every time you're having a spiral, each and every time you're doubting, I'm really hoping that this little mindset shift is going to help you get there much faster and much easier. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So as I just said, if we're conscious manifestors, our biggest struggle tends to be the resistance we build around our desire. And obviously, I'm not talking about small desires. I'm not talking about things you don't care whether they manifest or not. I'm not talking about the free coffee. I'm not talking about the free lunch or anything like that. I'm talking about the things that really do matter for you. When it's about something that matters, when it's about something that has importance to us, we tend to build resistance around it. We tend to bring up the old story, we tend to bring up memories, we tend to think a lot about the current circumstances, about how we might not be seeing movement in the 3D. And we just tend to build stories around all those things, around those memories, around what they might have said or they might have done in the past, around what the current 3D is showing, around what the circumstances might be or might have been. And we make it much more complicated. And as a result of that, we end up spiraling a lot. A lot of the time it's mentally, a lot of the time it's emotionally, sometimes it's both. And we're experiencing this inner struggle to move in our awareness from the current state where we're looking at the 3D, we're overthinking and overanalyzing the 3D, we're having all this resistance around our desire, we don't even know how it's going to pan out, towards where we need to be as conscious manifestors, which is aligned with our desire, aligned with our inner state that knows that what we want is going to manifest, that we can expect it, that it is ours, that it's already done, allowing with that version of ourselves that actually knows that our desire is a promise, our desire is done. So how do we overcome that struggle, and how do we move our awareness in an easy, fast, simple, effortless way from what we perceive as our issues, as our blocks, towards a mental and emotional space where we're actually calm, confident, almost neutral, knowing that our desire is going to be ours. Our desire is ours already, and the 3D is going to reflect it any minute, any day now. And that is especially handy when we're in a bad place, when we cannot see a way out of our current issues, the current circumstances, the current 3D. And we're sort of spiraling into that state, and we're dwelling in that state, we're dwelling in our doubts, we're dwelling in our unbelief, and essentially we're not moving towards the space where we need to be. Here's the very easy, very simple way that I have found to work very fast when you are in such a state and you need to shift your consciousness, shift your awareness towards the new state, the state where you are aligned with your desire and with your wish fulfilled. Every time you're in a doubtful state, every time you are lost in thoughts of how is it going to happen? It seems impossible. It seems too big for me. It seems insurmountable. Every time you find yourself dwelling in circumstances, dwelling into what the current 3D is showing and despairing and wondering how you can even get out of it, take a pause. And ask yourself this question. If my circumstances were not there right now, who would I be? Once again, very simple question, very easy question. If my circumstances were not here right now, who would I be? And I know that in the moment this might not sound realistic. However, as a conscious manifestor, this is exactly what you're supposed to do. It's not about not being realistic, but it's more about moving past what you see, moving past your circumstances, moving past what your current 3D is showing, moving past in consciousness and in awareness what you might be perceiving as obstacles, as blocks, as circumstances, as problems, as issues for your manifestation. And once you do move past those, what is waiting for you on the other side feels so much better. You feel so much calmer. You feel so relieved. You feel fulfilled. You feel content. You feel very, very different to the person who is dwelling in their problems, the person who is dwelling in their 3D, the person who is wondering how the circumstances are going to be overcome. And instead, you move past that. You ask yourself, who would I be right now if my circumstances were not here? So every time you spiral, develop the mental fortitude, develop the mental discipline to start asking yourself, okay, wait a moment, because those circumstances and what I'm seeing right now in the 3D is just a reflection of my old self-concept, of who I was before. That's all it is. It's malleable, it's not set in stone, it can be changed anytime. So what am I doing here? Why am I dwelling in those? So no, I'm not going to spiral into the circumstances one more time. Instead, I'm going to ask myself, who would I be if I didn't have those circumstances right now? And start moving yourself mentally and emotionally towards that space. Who are you without the circumstances? How are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are you assuming? What are your beliefs? How are you carrying yourself? What is your energy? What is your dominant state? Who are you right now and how are you feeling without the circumstances, without all those perceived blocks, without the perceived opposition from your current reality? If you're able to ask yourself that question every time you're starting to spiral into the circumstances and into the current 3D, and if you're able mentally and emotionally to move into that new space, the space where the circumstances don't even exist because the reality is they don't exist. Yes, they exist in this version of the 3D, but that's just a reflection of the old you. Who are you then? Who is this new person? Who is this new personality? Who is that person who has their desire? Who is this person who is already who they want to be? How does it feel like to have your desire? How does it feel like to be fulfilled, to be content, to be enjoying it? If you are doing this exercise with honesty and you're able to realize that you're able to move past any circumstances, at first in imagination, at first in consciousness and awareness, and then eventually also in the 3D, because it's going to reflect it to you, then your answer to that question, who would I be without my circumstances, would probably look something like someone who is relieved, someone who's feeling calm, someone who's feeling safe and secure, someone who's feeling confident, someone who's fearless, someone who has no fear about the 3D and the circumstances in themselves, someone who has a positive expectancy for good things to happen to them, and someone who is able to use their imagination productively and imagine better for themselves and allow themselves the opportunity to actually experience their desired fulfilled in consciousness, in awareness, in imagination. By asking yourself this very simple, very easy question, two things tend to happen. Number one, you're able to move in imagination and in consciousness to that new person, to that alignment with your desire and your state of the wish fulfilled much, much faster. Usually that can happen within seconds or within minutes. You ask yourself that question, you realize who you are without these circumstances, and you move to that space mentally and emotionally. The second thing that happens is that you might realize that you're actually very, very attached to those circumstances. And when I say attached, it's not just seeing them as issues and as problems. I mean literally attached to them, literally identifying with them, literally accepting them as part of yourself. So you might actually encounter a little bit of resistance from your ego mind to detach from those circumstances. I say do it anyway because it's worth it. You want your desire, you want to align with your state of the wish fulfilled, you want to align with your end state, you want to be aligned with your desire and with a new story that you're creating. So cut those ties of your ego mind with the circumstances. Cut those ties of your ego mind with what's happening in the current 3D. And instead, ask yourself that question, who am I without my circumstances? And see and experience and embody what the answer to that is. Start to see and experience and embodying that new person for whom these circumstances are irrelevant or they don't even exist. If you are determined to have your desire and you are determined to detach from your circumstances, to detach from the current 3D, detach from the old story, then this is going to work within seconds or minutes for you. So do yourself this favor, give yourself this gift to move in consciousness and in awareness and in imagination into experiencing the fulfillment of your desire. Becoming the person who has their desire, becoming the person who knows the 3D is going to be reflecting their desire any minute, any day now, and ultimately becoming the person who feels good inside. Because that is the number one goal of manifestation, to help us feel good, to help us have a more fun, more pleasant experience in this lifetime and not actually be torturing ourselves with things that at the end of the day are irrelevant. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.